Hey everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Professor Orange. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. Hi everyone, my name is Professor Orange.
Yeah, tell us more about yourself. Why your name Professor Orange?
You're going straight for that question.
I need to know it.
For context, Professor Orange is a nickname I got 7 years ago.
Nice.
When I first became a professor in a local game store here called Geeky Lizard.
Okay.
And basically we were there. I became a professor because there was no Pokemon community there.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like,
think 7 years, like it was very less.
Yeah, there was no Pokemon community at Geeky Lizard. And I was like, okay, let me become a professor. So I became a professor, and then the owner was like, you need a professor name. And I'm like, there's no specific tree I personally like.
So the one who's controlled the community.
Yeah, the guy who owned the store. And he was like, okay. So at the time, because, I was a gamer, I was a NEET, I was at home all the time, fashion is not really my strong suit.
Yeah.
I volunteered at this convention a lot of people know as Games 13.
Exactly.
And they gave 3 orange polo shirts as your volunteer shirt. Right? And I wore that every day. Every time I went out, I had 3 different ones, and it was comfortable, it was nice, I wore it all the time.
Orange color is very
orange
nice.
color, right? So I wore it all the time. So every time I went to events, people kept seeing me in the orange polo. So then he was like, okay, we should call you Professor Orange because you wear orange all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe something else. And then there were kids there and they were like, yeah, Professor Orange. And that's it.
It's very unique name.
It stuck. Like from then on, I was known as Professor Orange.
Nice.
Funnily enough, my favorite color is blue.
No, we should change it to orange.
I should change it to orange. When I tell people, they act shocked. They're like, Professor?
So you start like 7 years ago.
Correct, yeah. So I originally started playing trading card games about 10 years ago. Yeah, correct. Just making sure the timeline. 10 years ago, I started playing Magic the Gathering back then.
Nice.
And then eventually I went to like Comic-Con, I saw the Pokemon decks and everything, and I was like, this looks cool. And then I bought the deck, and then I told the store, I'm like, hey, is there a Pokemon community I can play with? And they were like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll make one.
For like 7 years, I think there were like few.
No, there was a community in the UAE. There was just no community at the store. Yeah, there was none at the store. So I was like, okay, I'll make one. Here we are today.
Everyone plays Pokemon.
Exactly. So
and it's very valuable things and
exactly
going on
after the whole COVID boom and everything. But yeah, basically I was like, I'll become a professor. So I went online. I got certified. It's not like when you say you're a Pokemon professor, it's not like the anime where it's like, I'm a Pokemon professor. I know all 151 Pokemon. No, it's like a proper exam where you become a basic professor similar to Pokemon. You first have to choose your certification, whether you want to be a tournament organizer, a trading card game judge, or a video game judge. The trading card game and video game judges are more technical roles where you have to know like interactions between the cards. Or tournament organizer is the one that does the logistics, manages a team, runs the tournament, makes the announcements, runs the software, deals with the experience, more customer service. So first you pick that, then you do the exam for that.
Okay.
And once you pass, it's basic is generally easy, 10 multiple choice questions. And once you pass that, you become a basic professor. They do a background check on you.
So it's not easy like to get, to be a professor.
I mean, to become a basic professor is 10 multiple choice questions, generally about logistics of running a tournament. A bunch of questions about like, hey, this player and this player had an argument over this, what do you do? And it's open book, so you get to go through the tournament rules handbook and the guidelines and understand what happens. But then after that, you've got your stage 1 exam, like a Pokemon you evolve. So stage 1 exam, it becomes essay style questions. And then has to get graded by a employee of the Pokemon company. And then after that, stage 2, really long, took me 4 hours, essay style question, and then an interview with someone from the Pokemon company or a regional Pokemon coordinator. And then you have to go through that, and if they both approve you through the interview and they grade your exam and you pass, you become a stage 2 professor. And so I am a stage 2 professor.
So it's not easy like to get it.
To get to stage 2, no, you have to work hard. You also have to do events. You have to do at least 6 high-level events and 12 casual events and sanction those and run them as a staff.
I know you're doing like every week events.
Yes, every week, every weekend, twice a weekend sometimes 3 times a weekend. Sometimes weekdays also.
Okay. So you are very busy professor.
Yeah, yes. Tomorrow evening, I was telling the players, they usually meet up and they play, and they're like, hey, you coming? I'm like, oh, no, I'm busy.
Okay. So I hope we can see you also this Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be there this Friday as well.
So let's talk more about, the history of Pokemon. When did it start? How people interact with these cards. Tell us more about it.
Sure. So the Pokemon trading card game, if I recall correctly, started in the US in 1999.
Okay.
And that was picked up by Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast, for context, is the company that started the game Magic the Gathering. Also owns Dungeons & Dragons, which a lot of people are familiar with. And they basically took the game from Japan and they translated it. They translated to English, printed the cards. They already had the foundation with Magic the Gathering that came out in 1993. So they already had the experience and were like, hey, we'll take care of it. And they took the, rights and started developing the game. They printed Base It 2, all of the, you might see this term on the internet when people ask for WotC cards, WOTC.
Okay.
When they say WotC era, Wizards of the Coast.
Okay.
So that's the old cards, the old super vintage cards, Base Set, all of that was printed by Wizards of the Coast. Now then in 2003, unfortunately due to disagreements over contracts, Pokemon decided to take the brand back to them. So then they took on the printing, they took on the organized play, the events, all of that. They were like, you know what, we'll take care of it. So from 2003 onwards, it was all Pokemon. They owned everything. And since then, Pokemon rarely, if ever, lets anyone do anything with cards. It's all theirs. In terms of, organized play, it's huge around the world. In the UAE, I believe it was around the year 2013 or 2014 when we got official events. That's before my time. I only became a professor in 2017.
Yeah, I think 10 years.
Yeah. But the game has been here for a very long time. Even before then, when we got official play.
Yeah, but I think it's come familiar between, you can say 10 years ago or 7 years.
Of course, when it came to the boom, it was 10 years ago. But I hear friends telling me, when I was a kid, I used to go to Toys R Us and get Pussy Packs.
Exactly,
it's always Toys R Us.
Also, for us, I remember I went to Toys R Us and I got the Pokemon console.
Yeah.
It's N64 console.
Yeah.
It's like Pokemon design. I remember that in Toys R Us. It was really amazing days. You can say 1999 and 2002, it was the year full of Pokemon.
Exactly. And I remember
every year that everyone talk about Pokemon in school, university, everyone they talk only about Pokemon. It was very nice.
No, it just brought back so many memories of me walking past Burger King with my mom. And Burger King in 1999 was doing a promotion with Pokemon where they had the gold slabs. And I was like, Mom, please, one Burger King kids meal, please. Or the Lay's promotion where they had the little spinning tops with the Pokemon.
I think you are paying 15 dirham.
Less back then.
I think maybe less to get.
Yeah, it was 10 dirhams back then.
I think it's the Burger King, the small one.
Yeah, you get the small junior sandwich.
Do you know the toy itself?
Yeah.
How much they are selling it on eBay now?
You know what? Surprisingly, it is not that expensive. It is only $10-15. You can get the gold Burger King 1999.
Really?
What is hard to get? What is really expensive? Yeah, you can get them all for $10 to $20, $30. Last I checked was 2 years ago.
No, look, now I'm getting the Charizard one for $50.
$50 US?
Yeah, it's good the price.
It's good price,
good the price, but it's still if in $50 you can get how many sandwiches?
Exactly, right?
Nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's it called? Now, if you get them graded, and I've seen the graded ones because, it was Burger King kids toy, right? Not only was it given to kids and kids threw it around and got it damaged, right? The Burger King themselves, they were having it in boxes, throwing it around, they were all pretty much at least scratches and stuff. If you have a high graded one, and I don't think any high graded ones exist. Last I saw, I think there was highest grade was 9, right? Then you get into the expensive territory where you could get $1,000 or really at the end of the day, it's based on how much someone's willing to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So that's when you get into the expensive, versions of this.
Yeah, and even they are giving about Burger King. They are giving also the cards.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the small Pokemon cards?
I do recall something about that.
Many things.
Yeah.
If they want to start a promotion, they are giving cards because they know everyone this year. They love only Pokemon.
Except last year, where they decided, not Burger King, McDonald's, when they did the Pokemon promotion, the rest of the world got cards, we got toys.
I remember this.
We got the McDonald's toys,
Yeah, it was nice toys. And so now we talked about the history. So let's talk more about the TCG cards, how to start collecting these cards.
Sure. So
for example, now I need to get a profit.
Yeah.
Okay, to start selling, collecting, trading the cards. So how we can start
So
doing this?
when it comes to that, this is the advice. I get this question all the time from new people. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, they come into the community and they're like, can I make money?
Because I start like before 2 years
Yeah.
collecting this, and we are getting a profit. But I think like maybe you have more knowledge,
Yeah.
you can get more ideas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, as I was saying, is like, I get this question all the time where it's like a parent that comes in that has no idea, or, kids or new players, or, people who've been casually collecting. I call them casual collectors.
yeah,
They come in and they're like, hey, is there any way I can make a profit? Can I make money off of this? And I tell them, listen, at the end of the day, these Pokemon cards are an asset. And how assets work,
exactly.
similar to the stock market, similar to real estate, similar to gold,
Exactly.
market
Like
goes
everyone,
up.
they need this card, it will increase.
Exactly. The market goes up and the market goes down based on supply and demand. But what you have on these cards is more than just an asset. This is your Pokemon cards. This is your characters. These are your trainers. These are your
Yeah.
Pokemon. These are stuff you are emotionally connected with as well, right? So when it comes to the new players, I'm like, listen, I won't answer your question. Get into the community, start playing, start collecting, come to the meetups, play with the other people, and I'll ask you in 1 month whether you want to sell your cards. And then
Exactly.
1 month later, when they have 2 master sets and they have all the collection and they have their special binder they keep at home and they don't bring to the meetup, I ask them, hey, do you want to sell those cards? They're like, no.
Yeah, I
They're
have
my
also.
cards.
Yes, you are right. Because for myself, I have also cards I don't want to sell.
Exactly, right?
I have like very special cards. I don't even like think to sell them.
Exactly.
I remember like when I was in the school,
Yes.
okay, in 2001, I got Charizard card.
Yeah.
I was very happy. I don't want to trade it. I don't want to sell it. Yeah, I remember these days.
Yeah. And then I tell them, so yes, you can make a profit as long as you're willing to sell all your cards. So that's the problem. It's like, can you? Yes, but this is more than a hobby of the mind. It's a hobby of the heart.
Yeah.
So you get emotionally attached to these cards. You get emotionally attached to the people, the community, the playing, the collecting, the interacting, the routine. You go to these meetups, you make friends.
Exactly.
It for a lot of people, it even goes outside of that. They meet up, to birthdays, to weddings. I've seen people get invited. They met in the community, but they got invited to be the best man in the wedding, right?
Yeah.
And it's way beyond just the surface level money. The question is, can you make money? Of course. There's anything that has anything to do with assets, you can of course make money. But when you get into it as a hobby, that's when it becomes tough to make money, because you make a lot of decisions with your heart.
Exactly. For example, you are getting like ultra rare card.
Exactly.
So you love this card and you don't want to sell it. So
Yes.
it's like 2 different ways.
Or you see the brand new set release and there is a booster box on the shelf and you're like, you know what? I want to open a booster box. Opening a booster box, most of the time, you will lose money. So if you want to make money, you don't buy booster box, you buy cards.
Exactly.
You buy cards, you save them, you sell them at a later time when the supply is decreased, the demand is increased, then the value goes up, then you sell. But a lot of people come to the meetups and then one person goes, I'm going to open a punch packs. They open 3 packs and one person sees them and goes like, I'll join you. And suddenly you have 20, 30 people all opening packs and seeing who gets the best hit. And it's
yes. It's like a challenge.
Exactly. Absolutely not a great financial decision, but it's so fun and you create memories you can never forget. Right?
Exactly. Okay. So let me ask you also one more question.
Yeah.
For example, I'm buying like a new pack.
Yeah.
There is cards expensive and
Yes.
cards like cheap one.
Mhm.
How to know the difference between them? Like for example, in 2020, there is one, the VMAX Charizard.
Correct, yes.
The red one expensive.
Mhm.
The black Charizard, for example, more expensive. The rainbow one, it's the highest expensive. Why?
So
Why this difference between the prices? Because it's big difference, not like small
yeah, of
difference.
course. So in Pokemon, every set is different. Something I say, for example, for Scarlet Violet sets like Twilight Masquerade might not apply for Cosmic Eclipse, which is Sun and
Okay.
Moon set, or Sword and Shield sets like Darkness Ablaze. But generally, the variety in prices is both due to demand. What is actually on the card? Is it a random trainer? Is it a random Pokemon? Is it Charizard? Is it Pikachu? Is it, Sylveon or, Vaporeon or Rattata? Depends on the card. One is the character, because every single person has a preferred character. We all know Charizard is the most famous one.
It's the
So
most expensive one.
Exactly. Charizard is also the most favorite.
Okay.
Everyone says, I either love Charizard or Pikachu. Of course, some have their fringe favorites, but that is the majority. which means that if Pokemon prints 500 Charizards and 500 Venipeds or Rattatas, right, there are more than 500 people who want Charizards, but there are maybe 500 exactly Rattatas.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe.
So the demand for Charizard is a lot higher than the demand for Rattata.
Sure. Yeah.
So people are more willing to pay more because they want it. It's like, if this supply is limited, you're going to pay more to get it, right? Because otherwise, then you don't get it. And that cannot be. Impossible. Me not having the card I want? Impossible.
And the price is too high.
Yeah.
For example, like Charizard, the grading one.
Yes.
It's the price extremely
Exactly. It's the same thing,
high.
supply and demand. It's also the rarity of the card. Now, when Pokemon prints a set, you might not have heard these terms, but there are different rarities of cards. You can always see the rarity in the bottom. You've got commons, which are circle. You've got uncommons.
Exactly. How we know it?
Yeah. So
for myself, I don't know.
I have a card.
I'm collecting cards, but
you're not going to be able to see this on camera, but you see over here at the bottom left, you've got a symbol. So this is a silver star.
Okay.
So there are different symbols for different rarities, and there are different terms for them.
Okay.
You've got a circle in the bottom left of the card next to the collection number.
Can you show to them?
Over there, the bottom left. You've got a star, silver star. And over there, you're going to be able to find the rarity. And older cards, it might be on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is basically your rarity. And you've got the sequence of them. They keep changing them every set and every expansion. It changes between Sun and Moon. It changes to Sword and Shield. It's a different rarities. It's in Scarlet Violet. It's different rarities. But the current ones, you've got your commons, which are circle, black circle. Then you got your uncommons, which are diamond, black diamond. Then you got your rares, which are a star, black star. And then when you go above, then you get to the hits, actual hits.
Okay.
Right? Not the hollows or the normal half arts. You get the full arts. So then you go to the, double rares, which are 2 black stars. You've got your full arts, 2 silver stars.
Okay.
You've got your illustration rares, which are the Pokemon that are not EXs, but they have a full art, which are 1 gold star.
Okay.
You got your special illustration rares, which is usually the hardest cards to get, which are super expensive, 2 gold stars.
Okay.
And you got your secret rares, which go beyond the collection number. They're secret. So they have 3 gold stars over there.
Okay.
So 3 gold stars, obviously you think, maybe more expensive, but no, it's always the special illustration rares because of just how beautiful the art usually is. Those are the ones that become the most expensive.
Nice.
And they are extremely hard to pull. For example, when you open a booster box of Pokemon, you are somewhat guaranteed a certain amount of hits, but you are also guaranteed-ish. You miss a certain rate of each type of hit.
Okay.
So like, for example, double rares, you generally hit 5 to 7, right?
Okay.
For illustration rares, you hit 2 to 3 in a booster box. That is the 1 gold star. For special illustration rare, I have opened 3 booster boxes where I got 0, nothing, no special illustrations, and some booster boxes where you get 1.
Okay.
Secret rares, same thing. Sometimes, but they're different slots. So sometimes booster boxes can have a special illustration and a secret. Full arts, you usually get 2 to 3.
Okay.
And then now they have also the pink star, which is the ace specs, which you also get 2 more.
Nice.
Yes.
I need to ask you about one card.
Yes.
The Charizard VMAX. You know, the orange one, the full art, I think, or...
All Charizards are orange.
Yeah.
You need to be specific. Charizard VMAX.
VMAX, the 2020.
2020.
Because there is card
Darkness
2020
Ablaze.
and there is 2021.
There's the Darkness Ablaze Charizard VMAXs.
Yeah, this one. So what's the difference between like 2020? There's like some difference between like the same card. There's any difference between the
same Charizard VMAX? Yes.
Yeah?
So I wouldn't say every Pokemon has it, but quite often the featured Pokemon
because
in
I
a
saw
set,
one Charizard more expensive than the other.
Yes.
Even if it's the same grade
same
or
text,
the same
it's
card.
the same text, it's the same name, same HP, same everything. The details
Because
on the
why I
card
ask
are the
about this
same.
Charizard because it's my favorite card.
Your favorite, yeah.
The VMAX, especially the VMAX.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Charizard VMAX, for example, in specific, Charizard VMAX has so many different printings. So it's the same text. It's the same Charizard VMAX with the same attacks, same retreat, same. All the text on the card is the same, but the art is different, and the rarity of it is different. You've got the. I don't think Charizard VMAX has a secret gold rare, but I do think it has. It has the promo that came in the Charizard UPC. It has the normal art that came in Darkness Ablaze. If I recall, it has a rainbow rare that came in Darkness Ablaze as well.
The rainbow one is
it
too
did
amazing.
not have an alt art because they only started with Chilling Rain to do alt arts. And it had a promo, if I'm not wrong, as well. So, then you go to the V-Stars and then there's more V-Stars and you go to the EXs. EX era Charizard has like 7-8 different printings. You got the shinies, you got the non-shinies, you got the full art, you got the alt art, you got the promo, you got the shiny promo. Oh my God, they printed so many Charizard and they're all the same. They're all the same. Maybe one Charizard is this way,
Yeah.
same art this way. You know,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You got all
They
the
know how
different
to
ones.
get more money.
Exactly. But that's the thing, is like the rarity of them. Maybe the one that's facing this way, you can get from a box. You go to Virgin Megastore, you see the Charizard Hidden Fates tin,
Yeah.
and you get it. But then it was the Charizard box. And then the one that's facing this way, you get it from the packs.
Yeah.
So you have
Maybe
to get
you'll
lucky.
spend 10 bucks, 20 bucks.
Exactly.
Maybe you cannot get it even.
Exactly. So then you have to buy it, right? And then you have to go to the market and see someone who's willing to sell it and purchase it.
And the prices too.
Exactly. So it all depends on rarity and how you can get it. Promos generally are cheaper unless they come out of Japan, which is a whole nother question.
So you went before to Japan?
I personally not gone yet. I did not have the chance. I almost went for the World Championships, but at the time we were doing a lot over here in the Middle East. We were picking up a new league, you know, our league
nice.
challenges were coming up, so I opted to skip so I can further develop the UAE.
But it's good, like, to see the community increasing. Like,
Yeah, of course.
like
of
everyone
course.
talking about Pokemon. Like, I went to many events in UAE. Let's talk about here because we are living here.
Yes.
So everyone like exchanging the cards, selling cards. In many events, you can see everyone talking about only Pokemon.
Yeah.
Maybe before 6-7 years, no one like cares much like these days.
It wasn't as loud.
Yeah.
So back then, in like, I think the Pokemon community, you know, there was always people that were interested in Pokemon, but there was never really a place where they could gather, right? You could go to a cafe, but unless there's someone organizing, announcing, preparing, putting up a calendar, gathering everyone in one place, telling everyone, hey, listen, on this day, we are going to be here. It's not going to happen. And that only ever started when there was a store called Battlezone. Unfortunately, the store is no longer open, but you know, back then it was Battlezone who the community started gathering. It's a local game store. It's a concept that is around the world. There are thousands, but over here there are very few. And local game store is basically a game store which is focused on developing these card games. You go to it and there are tables and chairs for you to sit down and play, most importantly for free. That rarely ever happens here, right? So you go there and, you know, they have the cards, they have the knowledge. You can ask the staff anything.
Yeah.
They have events, they have official events, they have meetups, everything is scheduled. They announce it every week,
Nice, yeah.
you know, and there's tables enough for 40, 50, 60 people to sit down, to play in a tournament, to meet up, to trade, etc. And back then it was Battlezone. However, Battlezone did not. Battlezone did have an Instagram and they did advertise it back then, but it's very difficult as a hobby shop when you're a small business technically.
Yeah.
To go big on marketing, get the billboard on Sheikh Zayed, you know, tell people, and at the end of the day, you have limited space.
Okay.
Even if 300 people want to join, you can only fit 40,
Yeah.
right? So, and even with 40 people, it becomes very difficult to breathe in the store, right?
Yeah.
So there's only so much marketing you can do, and there's only so many people you can tell that these exist. Because of the limited quantity of local game stores here, it never really boomed, right? And it was Battlezone, and then COVID happened, and then COVID unfortunately led to Battlezone closing down.
Okay.
But at the same time, there was this trade that happened, this very famous trade between someone named Dubsy and Logan Paul.
Oh yeah. I was planning, you know, to ask you of this one.
Yeah.
But it's good that you started. this
Exactly.
too,
We
because-
started talking about the history and why people
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
back then.
Exactly.
then
Because
that-
like everyone, they saw this video.
Exactly.
And I was like surprised that I know that Logan Paul here in UAE,
Yeah.
that he came to Dubai just to get, you know, that illustrator card.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, then COVID, Logan Paul really wanted an illustrator, reached out to a middleman. Middleman reached out to Dubsy and said, hey, you have a 10, PSA 10 illustrator. Is it for sale? And he was like, sure. And then they started talking back and forth, deciding on a price, and they finally settled on $5 million for a single card. Now, this card, PSA 10, is not that common, so hence why it was $5 million. And then he came here, became a big news. Everyone around the world saw it, and the general public saw it. And people who had nothing to do with Pokemon wanted to get Pokemon. So then you
Exactly.
had the people running into stores, the second Pokemon stock opened.
yeah,
You're getting a card, shoving it all in the card. I want to buy and
they thought that
resell
will be
this.
rich that fast.
Exactly.
But
And
look, illustrator card, maybe they don't know more about the illustrator card. It's like they released only 20 pieces.
so there were more than 20. If I recall, 30 something was the number. I don't know how many exist right now. However, the whole story of the Pikachu illustrator is that it was a card given out at an art competition.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think it's named the magazine. I think it's a
Korokoro, yes. So it was an art competition where people went, they drew, and the winner, I believe a quantity of the winners got the illustrator. However, because of, you know, people imagine like back then Pokemon wasn't that big. Even if it was, like, you get a card, nice, You put it in your wallet, you
Yeah,
put it in your
correct.
pocket.
Thank you.
You
Thank
put
for
it
this
in your
card.
drawer, you know, maybe you put it in a book or something, right? You're not going to put it in a sleeve, in a top loader, in a
Because
binder,
before, like,
protect it.
they thought that it's like a hobby.
Exactly, it's
They
just a
don't
hobby.
think for like the benefit.
Exactly. So a lot of them got damaged. They weren't taken care of, they got scratched up, you know, or lost, destroyed, whatever. So when it came time to, you know, the world started saying, oh, we care about graded cards, we care about, you know, cards, you know, keeping these memorabilia sealed and intact, then those people started grading theirs and they, you know, started getting 7s, 8s, 6, and no, very rarely did someone get a 10, right? And it became infamous or famous as like the world's hardest card to get, right? Because it's
Exactly.
a 10. Right, and it's got Pikachu on it, so
And I
plus.
saw him make it like a necklace.
Yeah, and then Logan Paul got it, $5 million to Dubsy, $3.5 million and
because
a
Logan Paul,
PSA 9.
yeah, shares 1.5,
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yes, so the PSA 9 he gave to him, and then the IOU or the 3.5 million.
Because
And
it's
then
like a piece of history.
Exactly, it's a piece of history.
Even maybe in the future, Pokemon, they will come to him and pay a lot of money.
Pokemon doesn't generally involve in secondary market trades.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, you know, when they did that, people were like, wow, I can make money. So everyone got into the game.
Yeah, but they don't know how to spend the money. Which
Exactly.
the good cards for to spend money on it.
Exactly. So once that boom happened, you got all these people who got the cards. And then now that they had the cards, they wanted to interact. And then we go back to what I said in the beginning. Can you make money? Yes. But once you get into the community, once you meet the people, once you start playing, you kind of stick. It's not a short-term, like, make money, leave.
Of course.
You kind of stick. So then post-COVID, a lot of those people who joined just to make money or just to make a quick buck, they were like, maybe this is worth it. And they stuck around. And then they started, you know, meeting up regularly, going to events and this. So the noise for it became a lot, even in the UAE. 2018,
Okay.
if you call, I used to work at Battlezone, and we used to get calls like, hey, do you have vintage cards? I was like, no, we don't have vintage Pokemon. Very rarely, once a year, maybe someone asked me about vintage cards.
Oh,
Once a year.
now on our website,
Now?
it's like everyone, they ask me every day.
Everyone, vintage, base set 2, fossil, jungle. You know, there's so much demand in the Middle East. Simply alone, we're talking about the Middle East.
Yeah.
For vintage Pokemon. Like, it boomed, like, and stuck.
Exactly, you know, it starts like before 3 years, we are like, my website started to purchase the cards and resell it again. So I'm starting to get order like everywhere, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait,
Everywhere,
Qatar.
yeah.
We sent for everyone.
Someone-
I was like surprised that people take care like of this card.
Yeah, they want them.
Before, you know, I start like 10 cards to keep it on my website.
Exactly.
Now we have like more than 100, like
Exactly.
the graded one. I'm talking
Yes.
about the graded cards. Yeah. So like everyone, they are asking, we need a graded card, we need a graded card.
We need from, Bahrain, Saudi.
Yeah.
You know, in Kuwait, there's a local game store that has a wall of graded cards. In Saudi, there's Virtual World. In, you know, Bahrain, there's a community there. In Qatar, there's a massive community right now growing. And yeah, just vintage, like, really stuck around here. But then back then, zero interest. Zero people wanted vintage. And it's so interesting. It's such an interesting
I
concept
think like
to see.
after 10 years, maybe we'll get like courses teaching everyone how to invest
Pokemon
money in
101.
Pokemon.
Pokemon 101, no, just Pokemon.
Yeah.
Just you go and you get a degree in Pokemon.
Yeah. Imagine, because in 3 years,
Yeah,
everyone talk about Pokemon, like just less than 3 years.
exactly.
Imagine after that, what will happen?
Who knows? We'll see.
Like in the events, everyone now selling Pokemon.
Yeah. Playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
No, it's then our meetups. Yeah, again, like at our meetups, you know, post-COVID, we started doing meetups, and you know, we started with 4 people. You know, at Battlezone, we used to have 16, 20.
Yeah.
Pre-releases at 30 people. But then post-COVID, you know, I came back and I'm like, you know what? Let's do this again. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get a normal, right? Again, back to normal, meet up in person. We started with 4. Again, 4 of the old players, which were still playing and like trading. 4 became 10, 10 became 16, 16 became 20,
Okay.
20 became 30, 30 became 40. Now the WhatsApp group has 600 members. You know, the Facebook group, our
Yeah,
Pokemon
I
UA
saw
Facebook
it.
has 3,000, 2,500 something.
Nice.
Like,
Nice.
I
If
haven't
you get
checked.
that this much, all of them, they love Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. All
And
these
you're,
people.
you know, you are breathing Pokemon. You talk only about Pokemon.
Exactly.
It's nice.
And this is with zero marketing.
yeah.
I did not a single time put a sponsored ad or any kind of advertisement. This is purely just
Nice,
word of
nice,
mouth.
nice. I'll keep the ring down.
Just word of mouth. People telling each other, hey, I go to this meetup. You like Pokemon? I like Pokemon. Let's go to this meetup. There's tons of people playing. There's tons of people trading. There's collectors for grading. Let's go there.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see how the game has grown over the past, 3 years since COVID. And how, there's meetups. We have the pack battle. We had the 87 player pack battle over there at TLT, the Little Things, Blue Waters. Or our meetups on Fridays, we have 30 to 50 people coming down and trading and playing.
Nice.
We have players sitting inside, playing the game, battling it out, turn by turn. You got the collectors outside, trading graded cards, selling their cards.
He's going to teach me today how to play Pokemon.
Yes. You've got the collectors trading, you got them giving cards to each other, completing their master sets, which is basically one of each card in the expansion that comes out. So they're like, oh, I'm missing number 101 out of 167. Do you have this? Do you have this picture? Ah, yes, I have it. It's in my binder. Okay, cool. How much is this worth? Okay, TCG player, let's check. And it's like, okay, then I have my trade binder, which is the binder you have there for trading, right? And it's like going through it. Okay, I'll grab this, this, and this. You check the prices. If they match, trade.
Ah, nice. And the TCG player, the website itself.
Yes.
It's very helpful.
Beyond helpful, yes.
Yeah.
So TCG Player is basically like the stock market of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Where you go there and you can see...
It's exactly like a stock market.
Yes,
like you are
exactly.
purchasing,
You will see the curve. You will see like the cards going up, the cards going down, the biggest movers, the biggest plus signs, the biggest minus signs of the day.
Today I bring one card for him and he starts like checking it by taking the picture.
Yeah.
And we surprise the price for that. You will see it later.
So yeah, TCG Player is basically what everyone uses over here. TCG Player market price, which is basically the average price of all the sold listings, sold cards, the cards that have actually been purchased and someone has paid for.
And it will show you if it's a grade 9, how much it will be.
No, so that's mainly for raw cards. When it comes to PSA or graded cards, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Because there is no platform where only graded cards are being traded on. There is eBay, there's, the auction houses, there's even private trades. So it gets very difficult. What I personally use is an app called TCG Fish.
Yeah.
Like a fish, like goldfish.
Catching fish?
Fish. It's called TCG Fish. And it's an app.
Why they do it fish?
I have no idea. It's TCG Fish. And what you do is it has a camera feature where you take a picture of your graded card and it'll show you the price. Exactly.
Using it
That's what I was using.
So TCG Fish.
Fish, yes.
No.
And you pick, PSA, Beckett, BGS, or CGC. Those are the three grading companies they support right now.
Okay.
You pick the grade and then it'll show you what the average sold, all the listings, because it takes the data from all the different places.
It will work only with the graded cards or
yes,
any
TCG
card?
Fish only works with graded cards.
Okay, by the code.
No, it just takes a picture of the card itself.
Only the picture?
Yes.
No need
No, that's your verification code.
Okay.
That's your security code.
Okay.
So it just takes a picture of the card, it checks it against their database, gets you the card, it also checks what PSA it is, probably checks the number, what PSA 9 or whatever, and tells you the price.
Nice.
Based off it, the 3-month average, the 1-year average, the last sold. It checks all of those. Otherwise, you can also use the website called Price Charting.
But that one, there's no camera feature.
Price Charting has no camera feature. You have to search for the card.
We'll start right now.
Yeah.
We stay in the fish bit.
Yes, TCG Fish, very convenient. The only downside is sometimes they take a while to update their data because they have to take it from all the different sources.
Okay.
They take it from the auction houses, eBay. You can see all the listings of when the card was sold.
Nice.
Yeah, so it gets a proper average for you.